This is not a test. This channel has interrupted its regular programming to provide disaster information not being readily reported. Important details will follow this tone.
Hey folks, Ira here. I hope you have had a great Sunday. Thanks for tuning in for our report of odd events taking place around the world. For the record, today is March the 12th, 2017. A landslide swept through a massive garbage dump on the outskirts of Ethiopia's capital, killing at least 15 people and leaving several dozen missing, residents said, as officials vowed to relocate those who called the landfill home. 15 bodies had been recovered since the landslide Saturday and several makeshift homes and concrete buildings have been buried. The landfill has been a dumping ground for the capital's garbage for more than 50 years. About 150 people were there when the landslide occurred. 37 people had been rescued and were receiving medical treatment. Many people at the landfill had been scavenging items to make a living, but others live there because renting homes, largely built of mud and sticks, is relatively inexpensive. An app reporter saw 4 bodies taken away by ambulances after being pulled from the debris. Elderly women cried, and others stood anxiously waiting for news of loved ones. 6 excavators dug through the ruins. "My house was right inside there," said a shaken resident, pointing to where one of the excavators was digging in deep, black mud. "My mother and 3 of my sisters were there when the landslide happened. Now I don't know the fate of all of them." Smaller landslides have occurred at the landfill in the past 2 years, but only 2 or 3 people were killed. Around 500 waste pickers are believed to work at the landfill every day, sorting through the debris from the capital's estimated 4 million residents. City officials say close to 300,000 tons of waste are collected each year from the capital, most of it dumped at the landfill. God, it makes my heart unhappy to hear of people living in conditions such as this. We tend to lose sight of people suffering on such an epic scale as it isn't talked about on a regular basis. It definitely puts things into perspective for us though. We are definitely blessed to not have to weed through and live next to a landfill. 60 swans were rescued after hundreds of gallons of oil deluged more than 3 miles of a town in the United Kingdom. The Environment Agency is now using absorbent booms to soak up the oil streak in the River Kennet and Reading, while they try to track down the culprit. We are being told that every effort is being made to find the source of this pollution. At this point in time, it is believed to have originated in the industrial areas in South Reading. This event mirrors a similar incident from 2007 when 60 swans were rescued after a school accidentally dumped cooking oil into the river. The residents of a trailer court in the town of Granger, Wyoming in western Sweetwater County, are being evacuated due to flooding. The evacuation of about 40 residents late yesterday afternoon when flooding of the Blacks Fork continued at dangerous levels. Emergency responders on scene include the Sweetwater County Sheriff's Office, Sweetwater County Emergency Management, Granger Town government officials, and troopers of the Wyoming Highway Patrol. Sightseers and others wanting to see the flooding firsthand are driving to the scene and hampering evacuation operations. Authorities are asking that everyone avoid the area, for their own safety, and to avoid interfering with emergency responders. Damascus, Syria was shaken to its core today following one of the worst terror attacks the Syrian capital city has ever seen. At least 44 people were murdered and dozens injured in a terror attack Saturday, when 2 al-Qaeda-sponsored suicide bombers blew themselves up near a mosque in the city. 2 suicide bombers blew themselves up next to a bus filled with Muslim worshippers, who were on their way to a mosque past a cemetery in Old Damascus. The cemetery contains a number of plots that are considered holy, drawing visitors from around the world. A rabid raccoon was found at a private residence on White House Road, in the town of Portville, New York. The raccoon attacked a person and several domestic animals before it was captured. Laboratory testing by the New York State Department of Health confirmed that the animal was infected with the rabies virus. Please be aware that this is the 8th laboratory-confirmed case of rabies exposure in the area in the last 12 months. Rabies is common in the wild and is found throughout our region. The health department is asking all county residents to be aware of any unusual behavior in animals, both domestic and wild. Symptoms of rabies in animals include unusual passive or aggressive behavior, staggering, convulsions and neurological symptoms like partial paralysis or seizures. The rabies virus is transmitted via the saliva of a rabid animal, primarily through an animal bite or scratch, and requires immediate medical treatment. Infection by the rabies virus can be fatal for mammals, including cats, dogs and humans. 57 hours is a long time to deal with any kind of severe weather, let alone a blizzard. The town of Churchill, Canada, on the shores of Hudson Bay, experienced a blizzard of that length. Just 4 hours shy of the longest ever blizzard recorded there. The storm that produced winds up to 74 miles per hour and, when it was over, dropped some 24 inches on the small community of fewer than 1,000 people. Late Friday, Churchill declared an official state of emergency as it faces a difficult cleanup. For a snowstorm to qualify as a blizzard, it must include winds of at least 25 miles per hour, lasting for at least 4 hours, bringing visibility down to a quarter of a mile. The mammoth storm included extended periods of zero visibility. An Austrian zoo has euthanized its flock of 20 Dalmatian pelicans after examinations showed them infected with bird flu. A zoo statement says the birds were put down Friday, a day after the first one was found with the disease. The zoo says the pelicans were infected with the H5N8 strain that is harmless to humans but spreads rapidly among birds. It has closed down facilities used by the pelicans to contain the virus. Bird flu outbreaks in Europe, the United States and Asia have led poultry farmers to destroy tens of thousands of chickens and other livestock birds this year alone. Finally, the National Weather Service says 2 tornadoes apparently hit far western Kentucky, where transportation officials say roads will reopen overnight. Officials surveyed damage in Fulton County on Friday. The preliminary findings are that the area had an F1 and an F2 tornado with winds up to 125 miles per hour, as well as straight-line winds Thursday night. Weather officials will return Saturday to continue surveying damage to the northwest and into Tennessee. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet said most state highways were closed during the day in Hickman, where the storm brought down power lines and utility poles. Work will continue Saturday. No injuries reported. Thank you for tuning in. If you found this to be interesting, please like, share, and subscribe. While at it, post your thoughts on this and whatever else is on your mind below. If you like the social media thing, you can link to us via the standard allotted social sites in the description. Have a great day, guys. Stay safe.
This concludes this report of the emergency alert system. All normal programming operations may now resume.